Hey there. I want to talk to the woman who's articulate and knows what she's talking about, but still explains herself like she needs permission. The woman who softens the point she's already earned the right to make, who adds context no one asked for, who walks out of rooms thinking, why did I keep talking? If that's you, pull up. Have a seat because this is that conversation that can only redirect that self-sabotage of negotiating yourself and help you stand in your earned authority. Hey, friend, come on in. I'm really glad you're here for that conversation with Madeline. I'm Madeline, and I coach professional women who want more agency over how they live, lead, or work. Want advancement, growth, transformation without overwhelm and without losing themselves in the process. So, I don't know if you're ready for this, but if you're like most women I have these conversations with, you may experience some aha moments, moments where you think, that explains it. That explains what I've been dealing with for a long time. And you may also experience some ouch moments, moments where you realize she's not talking about other people. She's talking about me. Well, the good news is that both moments are good for you because both moments can move you to strategic action. And taking action sets your intention and energy in motion. There's a saying, without action, there's no traction. Without traction, there's no momentum. And without momentum, transformation cannot take root. So, in other words, you have to work at improving or advancing at something long enough to gain and maintain the momentum needed to create change. So, if you're open to gaining clarity, and to gaining some tools you can use to move forward with intention, the intention needed to build your momentum. Stay with me. So, today, this conversation is not about confidence. It's about the quiet ways you've been negotiating yourself and what that negotiation is costing you. Number one is being your earned authority. And here's the reality about earned authority. Authority is not confidence. It's not about confidence. It's not about charisma. It's definitely not about volume. Authority is grounded decisiveness. It's about being steady and refusing to shrink. And for many professional women, claiming authority isn't about speaking louder either. It's about speaking from center without cushioning, qualifying, or apologizing for what you already know and from the earned stance you have the right to claim. I know women, I've observed women with more than enough credentials and credibility still hesitate to own the room. Women who are experienced, prepared, capable, with expertise that is unparalleled and that can silence critics. And yet, when they speak, something very subtle happens. They make the point, then they explain it again, then they justify it, then they soften it. And it's not because they don't know what they're talking about. It's because somewhere along the way, they've learned that authority had to be negotiated, or at least less apparent. That clarity needed cushioning, that decisiveness needed an explanation. My friend, let's be clear. That is not a confidence issue. That is conditioning. And the truth is that your authority becomes real the moment you stop asking permission to be yourself. It's interesting. There is research. There's research in organizational psychology that helps explain this. And studies on gender and communication consistently show that women are more likely to over explain, qualify, or contextualize their statements, not because of lack of certainty, but because they're navigating social risk. And let me state something plainly, something we know, but we don't talk about. We don't talk about the fact that directness is rewarded differently depending on who delivers it. And that's really important because leadership research shows that authority is perceived through clarity and decisiveness, not warmth, not effort, not explanation. And so when you catch yourself explaining more than necessary, that's a signal of adaptive and conditioned behavior. Mhm. See, you've adapted intelligently to environments where being agreeable kept things moving and kept you acceptable. But that adaptation has a cost. So, what's the cost, Madeline? Zoom in for a minute. Visualize this. Put yourself in the room, if you will. Picture a meeting. A woman, intelligent, articulate, prepared, respected. She's asked a question. She knows the answer. She gives it. And instead of allowing the space of silence to expand her message, she then adds, just to clarify, or what I mean is, the reason I'm suggesting that is no one asked for more, but she gets it anyway. And as she's speaking, she feels it. She feels the shift in the room. Her authority, it doesn't disappear, it just thins, it shrinks. And later she walks out thinking, why didn't I just stop? That lost moment is about self trust and how often we as women tend to override self trust in the name of not being too much, not too brilliant, but just palatable in a room where expressions of her brilliance, your brilliance, might be perceived as arrogance. And so here's the reality: authority does not require arrogance, it requires clarity and an exercise of your agency. When you know what you know and you let it land, people feel it, period, not a question mark. Your presence becomes part of the message, period. So, my friend, embrace this truth. Your authority is practiced every time you speak once and stop. Every time you don't rush to fill the space. Every time you let your words do the work thoroughly yet succinctly. That brief, silent moment that follows, letting it be just that, that is your empowerment moment. So now let's shift for a minute. Um, let's talk about something connected but often misunderstood. There is a difference between intuition and impulse. There's a difference between intuition and silence. I've worked with women who used to trust themselves deeply until life required speed, responsiveness, and constant availability. They didn't stop checking in with their intuition, not intentionally. They stopped checking in from a practical perspective. What do you mean? Decisions needed to be made quickly. Other people's needs came first. External input became louder than internal signals. And over time, the voice that once felt clear became faint. Not gone, just unused. And it's interesting because decision making research tells us something important here. It tells us that when people are rewarded primarily for responsiveness and speed, strategic thinking erodes. The habit becomes reaction instead of reflection. You know, autonomy studies show that when individuals aren't given space to consult themselves, self trust declines, not because capacity is lost, but because that muscle isn't being used. So when your inner voice feels quiet, it's not because it's disappeared, it's because it learned it wouldn't be consulted. And that is where these two threads kind of come together. Authority is how you stand, intuition is how you decide. When you over accommodate externally, you stop consulting internally. And when you stop consulting internally, your authority starts to wobble. It's unsteady. Now, on the flip side, when you stop negotiating yourself on the inside, your external authority stabilizes. Sit with that reality for a minute and decide to negotiate or not to negotiate. Okay? Before we close, I want to leave you with 3 questions to consider, to reflect on. And these questions can really support you in not only gaining some clarity, but also in deciding on taking the next right steps for you, how you want to move forward. Question number 1, ask yourself and be honest. Where am I still negotiating my authority? The goal here is to get grounded in clarity. Question number 2, what do I keep over explaining that no longer needs justification? Remember, this is not about beating yourself up. It's about awareness and practicing grace with yourself. Question number 3, what signal from myself do I override first and why? You see, it's all about the data you're collecting right now. Got it? Now, let's take this data and do something impactful, even strategic with it. Over the next few days, I want you to choose one situation, one meeting, or one communication where you normally explain, soften, or rush, and do something different. Speak once, pause before responding. Let the silence work. Let the silence empower you. That's the action. And remember, without action, there's no traction. Use that to get traction and then keep doing it. Keep doing it to build momentum, to change toward reprogramming that conditioning from negotiating yourself to empowering yourself. All right? So, my friend, that's it for today. If this resonated with you, stay with me because we will revisit this again. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. Take a peek at my links in the description. I'll be here for you every day without fail. And I hope you'll continue to join me on this journey and bring a friend along. I appreciate you, and I will see you tomorrow for that conversation with Madeline.